if anything happens, Brian will fix it in post
Uh,
because that's what happens.
I,
I'll say
that's what
something.
editing's for.
Yeah, that's what editing's for. And yeah, I don't usually we usually do a pretty good job though, right? Like
Mhm.
I don't have to edit out like a whole half hour or a whole segment from
Yeah.
somebody at times. It's usually just like a word here or there, and it's like, oh,
Mhm.
that's a secret, or oh, Ronnie, you weren't supposed to tell me that. Haven't gotten
Uh,
Rick to break yet, but
I've
you,
gotten him close a couple times so
yeah,
far in
yeah,
like our conversations that we've had. So too bad
yeah,
he's not
excellent.
here.
Yeah, yeah. Got to get him on the record. But yeah, so here we are at Deadzone the podcast with a special guest today. So I'm your host Brian, and with me is
Hi, I'm Troy. I'm a
sure.
new Pathfinder.
Welcome to the Deadzone podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop.
Yeah. So Troy is joining us today. He's one of the Pathfinders in the wonderful Michigan area, the majestic Michigan area, if you will, for Mantic Games, and uh, you are going to be running some of the events at the Michigan GT, and you've actually run some events already at like Adepticon.
Yeah, I will be running the Halo Flashpoint tournament at the Michigan GT coming up in October. And at Adepticon this year, I did run a few of the drafting events on the Saturday
Nice.
of the event. And so
I bet
uh,
those were a lot of fun.
it, for sure, it was a lot of fun. The seeing what people took and everything, and drafting in Halo is a very interesting format.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But before we get too deep into the weeds talking about tournament stuff, wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself a little bit. Obviously, you're a Mantic Pathfinder, but what's kind of been your gaming background, Troy?
So I've been gaming for about 5 years. I started in August of 2019, so it's been almost exactly 5 years on the dot.
Oh, nice.
I started out with Warhammer Kill Team, and then I've moved into Mantic products as well. And that started after I met Rick, who used to be one of the hosts on the podcast, one of the regular guests.
Yeah, it's certainly a tried and true story, especially for folks on the pod here. Of I met Rick, and suddenly the rest is history.
Absolutely. He's very good at getting people to play Mantic games.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And so speaking of Mantic
Mhm.
games,
Of course.
obviously you're drawn to the different games that they have available. Do you have a particular favorite that you like to play?
Personally, I really enjoy Deadzone. Uh, as a
Yeah,
podcast, as I'm featured here, Deadzone
good
is
answer.
particularly is my preferred game I like to play. In that I started with the Rebs, but
Woo, go.
I did defect to the Forge Fathers.
Okay, well at least it wasn't like the enforcers.
Yeah, I'm not that bad.
Yeah, yeah. No, the Forge Fathers are really excellent, an excellent faction, really fun to play, and
Definitely.
especially if you find a nice sweet spot in your play style because they can be they've got a lot of variety to them,
They
um,
really do. Yeah.
and it's kind of like probably something newer players might not pick up on right away, but there's a whole lot of nuance you can put into a Forge Father list. So very
Absolutely.
cool. So I imagine that means they're your favorite faction.
Yeah, I'd go with
Okay.
that. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll accept that answer for now, and
I
we'll see if you change by the end of the pod.
perhaps. I still love the Rebs. I'll give them another shot again. But in the beginning, I was like, all right, Rebs are cool, but I'm gonna start with the Forge Fathers just to be sure.
They are kind of a tough starter.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't know what I was doing.
I don't know if you've had a chance to look at some of the latest rules updates as well. There's been some really neat stuff that's come out in this kind of like 3.5 update that's hit down for Deadzone. And so that's really cool. And have you had a chance to look over any of the new stuff that's shown up? Any neat things for the Forge Fathers that you like to highlight?
uh, I, Unfortunately, I've been kind of
Haven't had a chance.
lacking. Yeah, lacking in looking at the new stuff, but I will definitely take a look at it because I need some Dead Zone in my life.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I've barely scratched the surface of the faction changes, but I know there's been a whole lot, including even just like looking at the Rebs. One of my new favorite ones that I really want to play soon is the Reb Strider now comes with Boom 4, so it can basically self-destruct, which I think
Wow,
is a lot of fun.
that could shake some things up.
That could really change things up. But I think there's a whole bunch of other stuff coming out, and I want to say the Veerman edition got some extra stuff just very recently. So the the updates continue to roll out. As of this recording, we're still kind of awaiting the PDF version that was kind of promised to us. That has not quite hit the digital shelves yet, but it's something we're certainly looking forward to. The companion has been updated with more rules actually since the last time we recorded. I believe a big part of that was some additional missions were added in there. So if you hadn't seen those yet, definitely check them out. See if I can pull them up very briefly here while I have Troy as a captive guest. And but Scott and I actually got to play one of these not too long ago. So there's some new scenarios. There's one called Plant the Flag, which Scott and I got to play. Hack the Mainframe, which is another one we got to play. So we did a pair of games here. If he's able to hop on, we'll do a little battle report. But then there's The Floor is Lava, which I am incredibly intrigued by as a scenario. Basically, that the ground on the lowest level, it keeps pushing players to the center. If you fall in the lava, you die instantly unless
I
you're
really like that.
a
That'd be
big creature. The Monster's Lair, which I think just has like a centralized big bad and like a environment. What's the word? Like a Frostgrave-esque, like it's players versus the environment versus each other.
yeah, PvEVP.
PvPvE. Then there's a Volcano, which is another one that's like, this is super dangerous, but it's in the middle of the field. And then this Crossroads one, which is also fascinating. The idea that you're like in this like two cube wide stretches of like alleyway, having a big old showdown. And then they have some of the multiplayer games, which have been missing from kind of official books, but there's been some really great designs for having like 3-player Deadzone matches, 4-player Deadzone matches. If you get a chance to look at the map, and I'll share my screen here so that that Troy's gets to follow along as soon as I figure out which window I'm sharing. I think that there we go. So
Ta-da.
don't worry, Troy. No, we're not actually using the video footage. It's only the audio recording. But one of the things I love about the three-way multiplayer map is that a great element of the design is your victory points. You basically have a 4-point victory point spot right next to your deployment in these kind of 3 different zones. But your target one is your clockwise opponent. That's the 4-point one that you can score on. But the opponent you have counterclockwise is trying to score on yours, which is a great way to keep people from gaining up on one player, right? It's you are attacking the other player and having to defend from the other. And vice versa, right? They're having to defend against you and attack at that. So like, I think it offers a really fun dynamic there. And
Absolutely.
then
I like that one, the multiplayer format, because my play group tends to like to do multiplayer games, and I think that would be a lot of fun to like, you got to kind of split your forces and make sure you're distributing resources equally.
And then they have some multi-mat stuff. So yeah, take a look at the scenarios. I know last time on the show we had gone through a whole lot of the changes that had come in. There's obviously still a few more. We won't go too deep into them this time around because we got some other stuff to really highlight. And that is the Michigan GT. Woo! Woo! It is right around the corner. It is the premier Michigan gaming tournament, grand tournament event for the state, and it's a big one. Like it's a pretty sizable event in the past. I know I'm trying to remember, and we've had like a Kings of War event that got like over 30 players at it. I've had pretty consistently strong Firefight and Deadzone events there. And I'm trying to think what year we're on doing it. I could probably look back in my catalog of tournament packets, but I want to say we're probably like on year 4 or 5 of doing the Michigan GT. Looks like mine goes back to 2022, so maybe not as old, or I feel like we've done it more, but there was also a stretch where COVID happened, so
yeah, that affects time dilation a little bit.
Yeah, this is in the same folder as my Adepticon packets, and I know those go back further than that. So so I probably I'm looking at Firefight, that's why. Not to belittle Firefight, but we've done Deadzone there more than we've done Firefight. So that goes back 2022. Yeah, we've been there a while. We'll just leave it at that. It's a really fun time. There's a lot of great folks come out. There's a handful of players like in the Wisconsin area that we always get to catch up with, who are really great. And so yeah, it's really become a really fun mecca for kind of that tail end of the year. You know, it's after the really big events like Adepticon, Gen Con, and whatnot. Like it's kind of near the latter half of the year, but it is a really sizable event, and really excited for it this year.
For sure, I am as well.
Yeah. And so the schedule as it stands right now is that on October 3rd, which is the Friday, we are doing our Firefight tournament. It's going to be starting from 3, goes to about 10 p.m. And with that, I think I have a little correction that I got to make sure gets updated on the website. I think with that time frame, we're probably only going to get 3 games in instead of 4. As much as I love to have more games, to really make them worthwhile and not rush the players, it's just better to give it a little bit more room to breathe, and so we're gonna limit it to 3 games, but we got some fun scenarios to go with. We are pulling in one of the new scenarios that's in that got released for Firefight, which is this one called Gunsmoke and Holograms. Those that are classic Kings of War players might recognize this as like a bluff style of events, where basically you have 6 tokens that 2 have 0, 2 have 1, 2 have 2 on one side of the coin, and so you distribute your these bluff counters amongst your forces, and then as the game progresses, those get revealed and become objective points that your opponent can score on. So it's a fun new way to play Firefight. Firefight's got some really great ones, and I was sad that I had to swap out the what's it called, the escort mission. There's one where there's like hostages or something like that in the center of the board, where you have to like protect these high value assets. I love that, but I felt it was a little too close to the Gunsmoke and Holograms. So we're gonna stick with that one for now, but I highly recommend exploring some more of the Firefight scenarios here. The other one, the other 2 that we've got is Manpower. So that one is more of objectives are on the map, get placed, and your forces then are looking to capture those by unit strength and whatnot. And then Control, which is more of the board area capturing. So the boards are segmented into sectors, and you're looking to occupy those. So that's the Firefight rollout. I think that's going to be a really fun time. Looking at they released recently the ticket sales so far, and Firefight has been getting scooped up. So if you want to play in the Firefight tournament, make sure you sign up. It is they're kind of surprising how fast it's flying, but I love to see it. Firefight is an absolutely great time, and I wish I was playing more of it, really. But it's always a balance between all of the different games that I love.
Absolutely.
All righty. So then in October 4th, so this is into Saturday, I'm going to give a little shout out to the Kings of War tournaments. We love those guys over there. Blake and Mike Carter, they put on a great event called the Kings of War Grand Prix, the Michigan Grand Prix. It's always got a really fun theme to it, where typically you have like a chariot, like a custom chariot figure that has like different things about it. Like it's a whole this racetrack-esque kind of theme to it. So it's always a great time to see all the wacky and crazy things that people put together for their chariots. And it's an absolute blast. So if you are a Kings of Wars fan and not of these other sci-fi stuff, I'm not sure why you're listening here, but we appreciate your listenership nonetheless, and encourage you to sign up for that event. So that starts at 8 and goes to 6 p.m. 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That is. So that's day 1 of that event. That one's a 2-day. At the same time, I'll actually be putting on another tournament, which is our Dreadball event. Our little Dreadball tournament is kind of making a return to the Michigan GT in kind of pseudo celebration of Dreadball All-Stars getting announced and getting more news in for that game, we wanted to kind of celebrate by having our own little second edition Dreadball tournament come back. It's going to go from 8 to 3, and setting it up so that it's beginners welcome. It's going to be probably a bit more of a casual style event. I'm going to have a couple of teams available for people to play as. I have a couple of mats up on the table. So looking to just kind of come down, have a fun casual time, and you get about 3 games in as well. And I think it'll be a hoot. It's Dreadball is a heck of a lot of fun. If you've never played it before, here's a great opportunity. I think there's going to be a handful of us that really enjoy the game, and depending on who all shows up, maybe we'll get a chance to throw in a game of Ultimate as well, the big multiplayer version of that game. So, going on just a little bit after that start time, we've got Halo Flashpoint starting at 10 a.m. So, yeah. Troy, you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on with Flashpoint?
Absolutely. So, this is I believe the first time that Halo Flashpoint will be at the Michigan GT.
Yep.
Because it was released after it last year. So for Halo Flashpoint, we're doing a 3-round tournament. And with that, what I find really exciting is all the different game modes. And so the game modes that we can play for our scenarios. The first one we're going to be starting with is Capture the Flag, tried and true classic.
Absolutely.
That will be, first round to start off with, which it does start at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Our second round is going to be Oddball Reloaded. That is the tournament pack specific one. So it's got a few different rules to it, such as that the oddball respawns in the center of the battlefield at the beginning of round 2. So no matter what, it goes right back there.
I've heard a lot of people really like that improvement for the tournament settings. It really helps balance that game out a bit more.
Yeah, it'll definitely keep things a little more balanced and free flowing. And then our third round is going to be Slayer, classic team deathmatch. Yes. So
nice.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what people bring out and the crowd that it draws.
And as far as list composition goes, do you have any requirements for the players?
We are running a 200-point list limit for the event, and that is sorry, moving things around on my screen.
No, it's all right.
200-point limit, and that's about it that we've got for the list.
Sure. So that we kind of have the Sangheili mercenaries, the brutes, and everything. Like everyone's able to be played.
Yes. Yep. No restrictions on that because we want to see that Rise of the Banished box in there. So for sure.
Very cool. Yeah. So and I know there's a whole lot of Halo terrain that you guys have collected. I know there's part of me that was going to try and see if you were interested. I do have some 3D printed Halo terrain that I think would make it a kind of a fun kind of top table matchup just for something a little different. But we'll see if I get painted up in time is going to be part of the trick.
If it does get painted in time, I would love to see it. So
yeah, for sure. I'll have to prioritize that and get it moving here. So some of my other painting projects have been falling by the wayside. So we'll see what ultimately makes it. I'm realizing I also kind of skipped over, like I asked you what your list requirements were. I skipped over that for Firefight. So we're going to be doing 1250 points on the 6x4 tables. So just to give people a reference of ideas, what's a brain? we've found that 1250 is kind of a nice, sweet tournament spot. It's not too big on, but it's also not too underpowered lists. Like you're usually able to bring some stuff. So, but yeah, so that's great to hear about Flashpoint. I'm really excited to see it. Granted, I know I'm going to be busy with other things, so I'll be seeing it from afar. But I absolutely love the Halo Flashpoint game. I think it's been really excellent. And before we get too far off of, we'll finish up the Michigan GT talk. But I want to hear your thoughts on the ODST expansion coming out, because that looks sweet
for sure.
All right. So with Halo Flashpoint going on kind of during the day, and along with Dreadball, kind of the sci-fi on Saturday is pretty chock full, because later that evening from 4 to 10 we've got Deadzone. This is another one I'm going to try and fit in 4 games. It might wind up being 3. We'll see how people are feeling. It can be a little bit of a slog that late in the day. I know, but it's always a fun time. There's a great set of Deadzone players in the Michigan area that always come out for us. And I think we're going to have an absolute blast. So the scenarios for Deadzone, and again, I'm glossing over this stuff. We're doing 175 point lists for this. We're going to be using the latest rules that drop with the 3.5 updates and everything like that. So if you haven't, I'm expecting that the PDF will be out by the Michigan GT, but I highly encourage players to get on the companion app. Maybe like if you want to just, I know some people are reluctant to do a subscription service. I think it's incredibly worth it. It's a really excellent application, and I'm constantly on it. So that's always fun. Just building lists that may or may not ever see the light of day. But I am making use of the tournament app this time for the Michigan GT. There's been some really great updates to it, and so I'm going to be trying them out and seeing both for Firefight and Deadzone. I've got them set up for using the companion app, so we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, the scenarios that we're going to be showcasing at this is one of the ones I mentioned earlier, hack the mainframe. And I realize I always want to say hack the planet. But hack the mainframe is one of these new scenarios for Deadzone. It's a really fun one. Basically, there are 4 terminals on the map, and you go up to them and you roll a dice for performing a special action of hacking. And you basically are kind of guaranteed a drop of an intel icon or item. And with that, there is a possibility that the terminal explodes with it. I believe the terminal stays, but basically that is your means of getting victory points, is to be going up to these terminals and hacking them. You still get victory points for kills, but this is a great scenario if you ever have been like, man, Deadzone has all these units that have hacking, but I've never seen a reason to use hacking. Like it never comes up. It's kind of exclusively for interactive scenery, and this now is a scenario that employs that. So definitely look at bringing hackers in your list and employing them, because not only is it kind of beneficial here, but if they drop the intel icon, you get a bonus point if you're a hacker picking that up. So yeah, look into that. Next up, I've got Scour. This was an old Deadzone mission that everyone was kind of like, wasn't really feeling it in the 2nd edition days. But I think the 3rd edition revamp to it has really made it a fun game mode to play. Scour is the one where you're picking up items on the board and you're returning them back to your little trash can or whatever it is to deposit them. One caveat, one rule change for the tournament purposes, we are going to stick with the 8 items that are on the board. And as opposed to 12, which is kind of what the mission calls for, is expanding the pool by another 4 items. I only have so many items to bring, guys. But with that, I did also adjust. There's a rule that says you can't gain victory points from killing your opponents. In the original or in the core rules, it's till after round 3. So it's like 3 rounds of only scoring via item drops. I did bring that down to after round 2. So hopefully that kind of helps keep us kind of tighten on schedule and moving through that game, even though there's kind of the fewer items to work with. Third game I've got is Divide and Conquer. This is another one I really enjoy. It's the one where deployment's kind of through the middle, kind of in an upward arrow from both sides, with scoring points on either side. It's kind of just a fun, brutal beat 'em up kind of scenario. So that's always fun. And then Invade to kind of round things out, which is more of a straight up backline deployments, some big point scoring objectives on your opponent's side of the board with some small ones in between, and you're slugging it out. So that's always a fun way to round out the day. Is just the one with the fewest rules, and we're just rolling dice as it closes in on 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, real late.
Mm-hmm. But that rounds out the Deadzone list there. So definitely get signing up for both Deadzone. I think it might have to be an or Flashpoint. I think people kind of have to decide, unfortunately. That's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But you're obviously welcome to do pop in for if you're there that early in the morning, pop on by Dreadball to get a quick game in before the Flashpoint tournament. I think that would be I'm more than happy to facilitate some pickup games of that as well. And so lastly, to round out the whole of the Michigan GT, because neither of us are running anything on Sunday, but the Kings of War Grand Prix is wrapping up from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. With their I think it's at least 2 games. Their games go long. Ours are usually fast and brutal. But yeah, so that kind of covers the Michigan GT. A whole lot of fun. It's definitely sign up if you're interested or have friends in the area. I know there's a whole bunch of new folks that are getting into the games near me, like in the in the like Ann Arbor area and whatnot. There's a bunch of new Firefight players that are just starting up over there. And so yeah, absolutely. And Halo Flashpoint, I think, has been a really resounding success as far as the game goes. So if you love to play those games, definitely sign up for them. Michigan GT is a great event, and always great players as well.
Absolutely.
And who knows, you might meet a future podcast host or tried and true friend for years to come going to that event. And as I always suggest, when you're first meeting your opponent, it's always a great way to ask them where they're from and how they're doing. So the sportsmanship goes a long way at that event. Apart from that, I think that covers the Michigan GT portion. And my computer's getting a little wiggy again. But yeah, other than that, so I mentioned it before, Troy, but I want to see what's your take on the ODST expansion Were you waiting for that as much as some of the rest of us?
Yes, absolutely. The ODST are just so iconic that it's one of those I was very excited for them and knew that,
Mm,
hoping they were going to come, and they've arrived.
right. Right? Yeah, it was I think that was a question in everyone's mind like since the announcement of Halo Flashpoint. They're like, "Oh yeah, Spartans, they're fun. Oh, saying Healy. Woo, yeah."
Ooh, yeah.
But man, we getting some Marines, we getting some ODSTs, and it's the models that they've shown they just look stellar. Like Mantic is just they have upped their game so much, and I think I've mentioned to other folks before, but like I look at like the aesthetic of other miniature game lines, and I always come back to like I just love how Mantic games like model lines look.
Yes.
Um and and the ODSTs, I feel like they really did them justice. It's a shame that we weren't able to get Rick on for this particular recording because I was totally going to pick his brain about what the scale of those minis were.
That
Because I know in lore Spartans are larger than the
Mhm.
average human, and ODSTs are just they're the Navy SEALs of the Halo universe. That for those that are unfamiliar, they're like Rangers in Deadzone. They drop in these metal pods, um, and Helldivers style before Helldivers. uh, and which I ironically, as of this recording, is the big like joining of that video game franchise, where
I saw
Helldivers
something about
2
that.
was doing a special ODST um, collab. Uh, Video games are wild these days, man.
They really
So
are.
hopefully we get some of those guys to come and check out Halo Flashpoint as well. Now that we got some ODST action, um, and yeah, ODST is a heck of a lot of fun. The minis look great. I love the scenery pack too. The new Mombosa uh, uh, aesthetic. I know it's a lot of cardboard uh, cutout stuff, but it is very sturdy cardboard. I will say, like it's very high
Absolutely.
quality, and so it's really great to see that line continuing to expand and introduce new things. I think my only complaint about the terrain in Halo Flashpoint as of right now, as a Deadzone player, I'm like, we don't have enough like overhangs, and like, what if something comes and attacks us from above? Like, we need cover, man.
I've noticed
But
that in
that
game.
yeah,
It's
Halo
like the
doesn't
Dead Zone
have as
instincts
big a
kick in.
problem as Dead Zone in particular has a whole lot of nasty stuff that can happen if you're out in the open and don't have a building above your head. um, so that's a fun time, but no, I think that expansion looks sick, and I'm waited with bated breath for that to come out. I think I got to go to my my local store and get a pre-order in because I also need to pick up the Brute expansion too. I've been
Yeah.
little behind on getting some of the stuff. Um, but kind of with that, as far as other announcements and news, man, the Epic Warpath stuff has been rolling out. People have been getting their copies of that game and the order from the Kickstarters. So that line is rolling out. It's looking pretty fantastic. Everyone seems to be loving it so far. I know uh, there's some questions around like the ordering right now, shipping, I should say, just because of the weird state of the world is in. But hopefully that gets resolved and people are able to get the minis that they purchased. And I know Mantic has routinely kind of posted and been pretty transparent about how they're tackling the kind of trade situation there. But yeah, I'm excited for Epic Warpath. I want to get into the game. think I won't be getting into it as hard as I have for definitely not as much as Deadzone, or even Firefight, and that's not a knock against the game or anything. I think those are just the ones I absolutely love, and I have very limited space in my basement right now. So, like a new game, even as small as Epic is,
I was gonna make the counterpoint. It is small.
it is
It
tiny.
fits in a small space. It doesn't take up
I
very much room.
I do have wild, crazy ambitions to get my hands on like the STL files, and at some point here, and print off some of those bigger pieces to a 28 millimeter scale.
Oh,
But like many of my ideas that people hear on the show, sometimes they don't come to fruition. That could be a lot of plastic, but
that would be a lot.
still, it'd be a really neat idea. I hope someone does it. People have been able to do some really fantastic things with the 3D models that Mantic has released and made available. So someone's gonna do it. I don't know if I'll be the first, but darn it, I'm putting that idea out into the ether so that someone with a little bit more ambition and free time uh, could capitalize on it. Kind of speaking of the 3D models and stuff, we did get the sneak peek before of the latest release coming for the Mantic Vault. And I'm going to see if I can bring it up real quick. They got the previews. Scrolled too far. Danger, high voltage. And if you know that song, boy, we can be friends. But it is a Veerman-tastic vault coming up this next month, and as some people have pointed out, it looks like it's the Volt Chaser models are kind of making a second appearance, but as has been pointed out, these are actually a multi-part mini now, as opposed to the single piece that the previous editions were. So these are now incredibly detailed minis for the Volt Chasers, the kind of little sub faction in the Veerman line, and the Vault continues to be the gift that keeps on giving. There's also a tunnel runner in there, and a crazy overcharger shotgun platform, which just looks like a nightmare riding or being ridden on top of by another Veerman with a giant ray gun. So always crazy. The Veermen are fun, and I believe there was an update, a special update rolled out for them in Firefight. So I haven't had a chance to explore that yet, but that is a really cool update from Mantic on that front. So that's what we have to look forward to in the Vault in September here, and continuing to be a really excellent offering from Mantic, and I can't wait to see what comes next after that. And lastly, we got, I think we'll kick it off to our hobby table section of the show. Now, our hobby table is brought to you by our sponsor at Corvus Games Terrain. They've been a monthly sponsor for us, making excellent 3D models geared up right for your Deadzone board or Firefight table. A huge, excellent line from Corvus Games Terrain. And you can use the code DZPodcast15 at checkout, and you get yourself a little discount on your purchase there. And so that's Corvus Games Terrain. And so with the hobby table section, Troy, I don't know if you caught on to some of that section, but basically it's kind of what we've been working on lately. I know with the Michigan GT right around the corner, I know my table is constantly full of terrain and stuff that I need to get painted up for the events. But do you have anything that's kind of on your hobby table, or would you like me to go first? I have a couple of things, I suppose.
So right now, I've actually got some Kings of War halflings on my table.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my Kings of War faction. And with
Very
that,
cool.
also the Kings of War. I have the name right on the tip of my tongue. The
the for their
Champions.
Champions game.
Yes.
Nice.
Going to be starting that soon. But I think before that, because I am kind of in a lull with my hobby stuff, a little bit slow. But after I finish these halflings that are on my desk now, I think I'm going to jump to starting on Forge Fathers for Firefight.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Starting to get the gears turning.
Yeah. And Forge Fathers in Firefight are really excellent. They have some of the coolest looking tanks, man.
Oh, for sure. Menacing.
Any vehicle that looks like a beard is pretty great. Yeah, my own hobby table is as aforementioned kind of full right now with terrain pieces in various states of painted, and so some of which I have is official Mantic terrain. I've been kind of painting up some little Deadzone Halo Flashpoint bases to be a red team, blue team kind of thing. And those I've had built for a while. I finally got some paint on them. I've been experimenting with using sponges to apply the paints. And so I was using a makeup brush or a makeup sponge and just kind of doing like different gradients of grays to try and give a little bit of a weathered look. Didn't quite get the effect I was going for, and got some feedback on that the makeup brush, the style I was using, is probably better for highlighting things like little edges and whatnot, versus using like the foam inserts you'll get in like mini packs and whatnot, tearing some of that up and using that to sponge on weathering effects. So I think I'm gonna kind of make a little pivot and start going about it that way.
That is a good method. I've used that one before. It's really solid to get that weathered chipping effect.
Yeah. So I've got a whole bunch of kind of Halo Flashpoint terrain that I want to finish up to have ready for the events. I don't think I'll be that far behind, thankfully, with getting that wrapped up. And then Rick's got a bunch of my Deadzone terrain yet, so I'll make sure that I pick that up from him. Might see if I can get one more set of Deadzone terrain together. That's probably too ambitious for me. I will say there will be a new set that I will have at the event, which is a cyberpunk set I got from Acid House Terrain. They for listeners that might have missed it, they used to be a sponsor of the show, but the guy that's run it is deciding to kind of close up shop, which is to focus on family, which I heartily respect, but it is also sad to see him go, because the terrain is absolutely fantastic. It's a foldable cardboard terrain, really kind of insert base for a core piece with a kind of a shroud around the sides of it, a little facade, and it looks fantastic. And I got myself one of his smallest sets, which I think is designed for like, I think a 32-inch by 24-inch table, and it filled up a Deadzone board. It was perfect for Deadzone, and so I'm going to be showing that terrain set off at the Michigan GT, along with a bunch of other kits and stuff from there. So, as well as some Corvus Games terrain. I'm sure you'll see that. Don't worry, I will have some Mantic terrain. I do have a bunch. It usually is just whether or not it survives travel. Mostly because it's old. Like I've had it for years now. it's getting beat up. But yeah, and then just to report on, because I'm sure listeners are curious. So I did get around to priming all of the Veerman models that I wanted to make. I think I had like a 200-point list, put together a little extra, got them all primed up, and then they kind of just been sitting there primed. And I haven't had a chance to paint them up to actually make them a Deadzone faction, but they're on their way. I've got basically I need to do the dry brush run through on them to give them a little bit of color, and then gonna hit them with some contrast paints to get them across the finish line. I honestly don't know if that'll make it across by the end of summer, considering we're recording this at the very end of August. But it was a fun project. It got me to break out some minis that had just been sitting around. So I was happy to have that done, or at least moving forward a little bit. And yeah, trying to think if there's anything else that I've had on my painting table. But that about covers it. So it's terrain and it's figurines. I will say I did take a little break from painting minis for wargaming, and actually I had, with my new printer, I had printed off a bunch of figurines, like little character models, and stuff like that, just to break up the monotony. And I did manage to paint up. For those that may not know, I'm a huge Mega Man fan. And so I have a Mega Man and a Proto Man now sitting above my desk that are nice and painted up. So that it was really fun to just have something different to do. And definitely encourage that if people have a chance, if you're getting a little bit of a dry spell and I've been painting the same, the same GCPS Marine for the last 30 models, then just breaking it up with something different can go a long way. So, all right. But with that, I think we're gonna call it a wrap. That was pretty good time. I will say, thanks everybody for listening to the show. Troy, absolutely, thank you for joining me today to talk about the event coming up and all the fun stuff that's going on with Halo Flashpoint.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll have to do some more stuff and see if we can connect at the GT to maybe see how things are going partway through the day as like a roving reporter piece. I hardly have time to do that anymore, but maybe we'll be able to work something out.
Yeah, if the time arises, I'll be down for it.
Let's just do like a little round table, like a little half-hour break in between stuff, and it's like, all right, quick, let's record. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. Mantic has we'll have a booth set up there. Always a great selection, especially from some of the newest stuff that's coming out. So swing on down. Even if you're not playing in the tournaments, I'm going to encourage playing in the tournaments. But even if you're not, but you're a fan of Mantic, swing on down and check it out. Because I'm pretty sure the event is kind of pseudo open to the public to swing by the vendor booths at least. And say hi to Rick, because he's a cool guy and you should buy things from him. But yeah, with that, that's a wrap on the show. So thanks everybody. Make sure to listen, subscribe, follow us on all the social medias, because I never remember to say that part of the show. And well, have a good night.
Bye. Good night.
Yeah. And that's where I usually stop, like the show, like it hits the last bumper, and then for some reason the recording keeps going because I'm terrible at hitting the stop button. But thanks again for hopping on, Troy. It was great
Yeah,
catching
of
up.
course. Yes, definitely. Thank you for having me on.
Mhm.
I goofed it in the first minute, so
It's all right. It happened. Heck, I mean, I goof up all the time, and I've been doing this show for so Rick and I took over the show at episode 101. Like that was our first episode. This is episode 171. So 70 episodes in, I still haven't figured out what I'm doing.
yeah, I get it. It's just nerves. They got me. I was like, don't goof up, and you goofed
No,
up.
you did a great job, Troy.